Welcome to Enterprise Hobby T-Rex 700X build video. I placed the items on the workbench which we will use in the first part of this build video following the instruction manual. A few tools and other items are required to assemble the T-Rex 700X. A hexagon screwdriver set, various sizes, Phillips screwdrivers, needle nose pliers, a cutting knife, oil, and CA. I recommend a few other items when assembling the helicopter. A degreasing solution, such as denatured alcohol, that removes all the grease from the screws, allowing the Loctite to have a very good bond. A variable speed drill that will be used to attach the ball links to the metal arms. Red Loctite and a feathering shaft wrench. It's made by Align. So a couple things about the manual is, number one, the manual itself has the introduction. If you're new to helicopters, it's a good idea to read through the introduction, the safety notes, about the power lines and other things where you should fly and the potential, harm that you can cause. The third page covers the transmitter, extra items that you're going to need. If you don't have the items, you're going to need a balancing charger. Here you're going to need the LiPo batteries. You're going to need some kind of a receiver because that's not included in the kit. Swash leveler, pitch gauge digital. This is a multifunctional battery checker that Align makes. It's actually a very good product. Has a servo tester on it too. And then some of the tools that you're going to need that are not included in the kit. So here's a list of everything that's in the kit and all the part numbers. And as I mentioned in the unpacking video, you can see that the 700 FLH is right here, 700 FLH. So this is the page that we're going to be working on, which is assembling the head. So we'll take this, place it right here. Go ahead and cut open the accessories bag, which is 700 EFLZ, because we need a couple of the items out of here. So we need the Loctite. So we have the blue Loctite, which I'm put over here. We have the green, and we have the grease. I also notice if you have red, I like to use red on certain parts of the helicopter because I'm not going to take it apart. The ball links on the swash, also the blade grips, a couple places. So you'll see that as we go through the process. Here's the head. So what I do first is I go ahead and take everything apart. It comes assembled, but you're going to find that the screws are not Loctited in, and I'm dropping each one of the screws into a solution which will remove any grease or oil from them. It's just a good idea to do that and make sure that everything's okay. And you see here the ball links just unscrew with your fingertips. I actually have people that bring their helicopter into the shop and they've got it together and they've never tightened the ball links on the swash in a couple other places. Set this aside right here for a little bit later on. Here's a common problem that most people have is they don't have the right tool to take this off. So there's ways to do it if you don't have the tools, but it's best to turn around and pick up one of these parts. Line makes it. They make them for each size of the helicopters. It's a one-way bearing inside the tool, and it allows you, even when there's Loctite in here, to go ahead and hold without scratching the feathering shaft and turn around and easily remove the screw. And you can see maybe in the video or not, but there's oil all over this screw. So we're going to drop it in there and go ahead and let it clean. Alright, now we have the pieces done. Let's go ahead and pull these out of the solution here. I use the back of the plastic because I'm going to apply my Loctite to here because I don't want to take the Loctite, pour it on the screw. So I put a little bit here, and I'm going to use a paper clip to turn around and apply to each screw because you only need a little bit. And that way it'll make it a good secure lock when the Loctite dries inside. Alright, so we have our paper clip. I'm going to set that over here. I'm going to take a little bit of the red Loctite, place it here.
Understand? Glad that was done.
Have a couple Q-tips. So I'm going to take the feathering shaft, put it in here. And I'm rotating the Q-tip a little bit inside the threads and unwinding. We got the feathering shaft done. I'm going to go ahead and install the ball onto the grip. And I do use red Loctite here. It can be heated off. It's just not as easy to come off when it's heated as the blue. But I don't want these coming off in flight. A little bit in the threads. Snug it up. Snug that one up. Alright, now we're going to assemble the head and put it all back together. So you're going to have the bearing goes on the outside, bearing on the outside, spacer in the middle here. There's a rounded kind of flat edge, rounded towards the bearing, flat towards here. This one here, same situation. And then these are going to go there. We're now going to reassemble the head. So we're going to take I take the out, see out marked right there. Put this on, add a little grease. The end. Now we're going to take the spacer, flat side to the thrust bearing, raised side to the bearing itself. Found the easy way is to just put your tool through, slide those through, make sure that they go in even and they slide right in with no problem whatsoever. That side's assembled. And we're going to do the right one. I want to take the out, place it right here. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of grease. Take the in. So I have out. I'm going to take the spacer, flat side in, bearing. That one's assembled. Okay, take the feathering shaft, which remember we've cleaned out, put a little bit of grease, as the instructions call for here. I just put a little bit on, rub it around with my fingers. If you leave it in a bead, then it's all going to just push back on the actual shaft. Place it in here, it'll slide in with no problem whatsoever. Again, spacer, flat side to the dampener, curved side to the bearing. Flat side to the dampener, curved side to the bearing. We have that. Now take a little blue Loctite, and what I do is I put the blue Loctite right here in the threads. And the reason I'm doing that is because that way when you screw the screw in, the reason I'm putting it in this way is because when I screw the screw in, the Loctite's not going to go back down the screw. The screw's going to go in, and it tends to keep the Loctite out of the bearings. That's a common thing that I see with people that don't know. So gently slide this on. Again, here I'm just going to make this snug. Snug it up till I feel the other turning. Pull it here. There's free movement. So now we have the blade grips assembled. All right, we've completed the first two parts of page 5 of the manual, and now we're going to flip it over and we're going to go to page 6, and here we're going to assemble the swash, add the arms, put everything together as far as necessary for the head on the main shaft. So I have the actual main shaft pack. You can see here it says 700FL13, 700FL13. So I'm going to open up that. With the main shaft and a couple spacers here. Alright, I'm going to pull these screws out. They go on these arms. One thing to be cautious of is there's an itty bitty little washer spacer, and that's going to go on the outside of the arm. And so you want to be very cautious because it's something that's very easy to turn around. It actually goes on the outside of this hole right here. Line faces out so that you can read it. You don't want to lose those. They tend to stick, so if you pull the screws out, they're going to, most of the time they'll end up on the bearing itself, but you want to make sure that you don't lose those. Alright, so you have the 3 balls, so I'm going to pull off the outside ones here. Drop them in real quick. Alright, we're going to pull these balls out of the solution here. I'm going to take off these here. And we're going to drop those into the solution for just a minute, and we'll come back to them in a second. Alright, they've been soaking for a second. And we're going to go ahead and pull these ball links out so that we can reattach them to this swash. Hook it up. And I am applying red Loctite. I don't want these balls coming off in flight. Now the instruction manual here, so you know there's two holes. There's an inner hole and an outer hole. The instruction manual says use the outer hole. So I'm going to go ahead and place these back into the outer hole. Alright, so we have the swash ready to go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and place the arms and attach them to the head. We have the two. Here's our little washers. And again, I do the same thing here. A little bit of Loctite. Place it in the hole. Now we have the arms attached. Okay, we're ready to go ahead and move on to the bottom of page 6 and build our ball links. Place them on the end. So I'm going to cut this package open. This is right here, 12A, we're on 12A. What we have here is we have the blade grip bolt, great bolt, another socket, lock nut, we're ready to assemble the links down here. And I have a caliper over here so I can do the measurement, and the parts are right here. One of the things that Mickey, he did a video on, and it's actually a really good idea, makes it super easy. Just go ahead and tighten that into a drill, a variable speed drill. You can take the end, drop it on the end. Starts up right away. I always back off the first one, set it aside, because I'm going to put that one back on. Pop it around. I don't know why. It probably works both sides, but it's just a habit right now. A little pressure. Now this side will go on because it's already been threaded inside. And I always take tool. I don't use pliers. Pliers scratch. And there's an A, and what you're going to end up doing is that the link's going to go here. It's going to be offside, so you're going to have one end this way, and then you're going to have the other one off. So it's going to be like this. Okay, the A has to be facing out on one side, and it has to be right there. So we're going to go ahead and turn around, turn this on, zero it out, and I'm going to measure from, this should be 27 millimeters. Or probably half a turn off. I'm going to turn on this side because there's a little bit more thread. We're a little short. I'm going to make the final adjustment. This is a little shorter, it's 26.86, and if I'm out, then I'm 27.18. So I'm close. I know what it is. Take my drill again. What you want to be careful is make sure that you're actually on the center little hex part and not on the threads on the back side. Place it on there. Or I'd say 26.98. So we're close enough. And we'll make final adjustments on that later. Alright, now we're going to perform what's on the bottom of page 6, and we're going to assemble the head and put it onto the main shaft. So we take the main shaft, the shorter part is the top, and the line on all the shafts, the line goes actually through the bearing into the helicopter wherever it's marked a line. So that's the pretty easy way to remember it. What you want to do is, when you put this together, is make sure that you have your arms up. If you end up putting them on by accident and this tilts this way so that you see, or this tilts this way the opposite way, once you put the shaft in and you put everything together, it's not, you can't move this back across, and you can't move it the other way because it's blocking itself on the head. So you want to make sure that you have these the right direction. Place the swash onto it. It's onto the shaft. Then there's two holes. You're going to have a bolt go through here, and then you're going to have a bolt go through here. Each one of these has a special cutout area for the nut. And what I found is that people sometimes, when they bring in their helicopter, I can tell that they're putting the screw through, and the screw's sitting out. They put the nut on there, and then they screw and tighten the nut down under the helicopter. What ends up happening a lot of times is they'll turn around and nick the aluminum in here, and then the nut becomes very difficult, and you got to clean it out, and it doesn't really fit sometimes because you get the little burrs of aluminum in there. So I always turn around and plop the nut in, hold it with my finger, make sure I have my arms the right way, and double check. So I've got a line showing here. This one goes in the opposite direction, so I know a line's on the other side. Go ahead and place my shaft in. Make sure my hole's lined up. Dropping the screw. I'm placing pressure on the back side on that nut so that it won't pop out. And it's just snug. I haven't tightened it up yet. So now my arms are in place, and you can see, even trying, you can't go this way. You know, if it was backwards, you can't go this way because the shaft's in the way. You can force it over, but that's not good because you're torquing all this stuff in here. So you got to take it apart and redo it. Then I want to take, here's the circle side for the head of the bolt, and here is the nut side. So I place the nut in there, do the same thing, hold it with my finger, place a screw in, bolt rather, and then go ahead and tighten that up. And you see I'm placing a little pressure on the nut so it doesn't back itself out and cause it to mar the aluminum. Okay, now I'm going to tighten that one down snug. And I'm going to spin it here and tighten this one down snug here. Okay. So now I have my swash and my head together. We've completed the bottom of page 6 in the manual. And so I'm going to take the head, which is assembled, I'm going to set it over the side. And I'm not going to place these arms on as yet. I prefer to do them later. But they're the right size. And I'm going to set these over to the side along with the bolts and nuts that hold in the blade grips. And the 4 spacers over here. So we're going to flip over to the next page, and the next page is, we're going to start the frame assembly. So as it stated in the manual here, we're going to need a parts bag 700 HB 17 and 700 HB 18 for this process right here. So I'm going to go ahead and gather those up, and then I'll be back in a couple moments after I get them open, because I'm not going to spend the time opening up the bags, each one of them, and showing them. But I'm going to lay the parts out so that you can see everything, and then we'll reference what we have. So we'll be back in just a minute.